Khabib Nurmagomedov is an absolute monster in the octagon, undefeated, relentless, and just on another level. The way he smashes guys isn't just about winning, it's about domination. Every time he steps in the cage, you know you're about to witness pure violence mixed with world-class technique. Let's break down every brutal finish Khabib delivered in the UFC and see why this guy is one of the most terrifying forces MMA has ever seen. Before we jump in, a quick request: if you enjoy our content, please consider subscribing. It's just one click for you, but it means the world to us. Thanks for the support. Now let's get started. THIAGO TAVARES. Khabib Nurmagomedov's fight against THIAGO TAVARES is often remembered as his most violent and eye-opening finish in the UFC. Entering the bout, Khabib was still establishing himself as a true force in the lightweight division. From the opening bell, he demonstrated his trademark aggression and relentless pressure. Less than 2 minutes into the first round, Khabib landed a powerful left uppercut that dropped Tavares to the canvas. Without hesitation, he pounced on his downed opponent, unleashing a vicious barrage of elbows and punches. The elbows, in particular, were devastating. Khabib landed a series of clean, sharp strikes that immediately opened up a deep cut on Tavares' forehead, causing blood to pour out rapidly. The referee quickly recognized that Tavares was unable to intelligently defend himself and stepped in to stop the fight at 1:55 of the first round. The aftermath was a blood-soaked canvas and a battered Tavares, evidence of Khabib's ferocity. This finish sent a message to the division. Khabib was not just a grappling specialist, but a dangerous finisher capable of overwhelming opponents with both his striking and ground and pound. It remains one of the most brutal and memorable stoppages of his career. KAMAL. Khabib Nurmagomedov's UFC debut against KAMAL showcased the unique blend of relentless pressure and technical mastery that would define his career. From the outset, Khabib imposed his game plan, using his superior wrestling to take SHALORUA down repeatedly. He demonstrated not only his ability to control opponents on the mat, but also his willingness to inflict damage with ground and pound. Throughout the fight, Khabib landed heavy strikes from top position, softening SHALORUA up and sapping his energy. As the bout progressed into the third round, SHALORUA was visibly fatigued and unable to mount any meaningful offense or defense. Sensing the finish, Khabib ramped up the intensity. He secured a dominant position, took SHALORUA's back, and locked in a rear naked choke. The submission was tight, and SHALORUA had no choice but to tap out midway through the final round. This performance was more than just a win, it was a statement. Khabib's debut finish demonstrated his ability to overwhelm opponents with a suffocating grappling style, setting the tone for his future dominance in the lightweight division. The fight remains a textbook example of how Khabib could break an opponent's will before closing the show with a decisive finish. Michael Johnson. Khabib Nurmagomedov's bout with Michael Johnson at UFC 205 is often remembered for its sheer dominance and psychological intensity. Johnson, known for his speed and striking, started the fight with some early success on the feet, but Khabib quickly closed the distance and initiated his signature grappling assault. Once he secured a takedown, Khabib's control was absolute. He trapped Johnson against the cage and unleashed a relentless barrage of ground and pound, landing heavy punches and elbows that left Johnson bloodied and overwhelmed. What made this finish particularly brutal was not just the physical punishment, but also the psychological aspect. Khabib was audibly talking to Johnson during the fight, urging him to give up and telling him, "You have to give up." This display of dominance continued for 2 rounds, with Khabib methodically breaking Johnson's resistance. In the third round, after more punishing strikes, Khabib transitioned to a Kimura lock. The submission was tight and Johnson, already battered, was forced to tap. The fight ended at 2:31 of round 3. This performance sent a clear message to the division. Khabib was not only technically superior, but also capable of imposing his will and breaking opponents both physically and mentally. Conor McGregor. Khabib Nurmagomedov's clash with Conor McGregor at UFC 229 was one of the most anticipated and heated fights in MMA history. The build-up was marked by intense personal animosity, with McGregor targeting Khabib's family, religion, and country in a series of incendiary press conferences. When the two finally met in the octagon, Khabib's game plan was clear: pressure, takedown, and relentless ground and pound. From the opening round, Khabib imposed his wrestling, taking McGregor down and controlling him with suffocating top pressure. In the second round, Khabib stunned McGregor with a massive overhand right, then followed up with a ferocious barrage of ground strikes, repeatedly smashing McGregor's face and body with punches and elbows. The punishment was so severe that commentators remarked on the ferocity and volume of Khabib's ground and pound, noting that McGregor was forced to simply cover up in survival. As the fight wore on, McGregor's resistance faded. In the fourth round, Khabib secured another takedown, quickly transitioned to McGregor's back and locked in a neck crank. The submission forced McGregor to tap at 3:03 of round 4, cementing Khabib's dominance. The aftermath saw Khabib leap out of the cage, igniting a brawl, but the fight itself remains a masterclass in controlled brutality and psychological warfare.
Dustin Poirier, UFC 242, September 7th, 2019. Khabib Nurmagomedov's title defense against Dustin Poirier at UFC 242 in Abu Dhabi further cemented his reputation as one of the most dominant champions in MMA history. Poirier entered the fight as the interim lightweight champion, riding high after defeating top contenders, and was widely considered one of the division's most dangerous strikers and submission artists. However, from the opening bell, Khabib imposed his trademark pressure, closing the distance and forcing Poirier onto the back foot. Khabib's relentless takedowns and top control left Poirier with little room to operate as he repeatedly dragged the fight to the mat and punished Poirier with ground and pound. Despite a brief scare in the second round, when Poirier locked up a tight guillotine choke, Khabib remained calm and escaped, quickly regaining control. By the third round, Poirier was visibly fatigued and struggling to defend against Khabib's grappling. Sensing the finish, Khabib took Poirier's back and locked in a rear naked choke. Poirier, exhausted and trapped, was forced to tap at 2 minutes and 6 seconds of the third round. The victory was a testament to Khabib's suffocating style and ability to break elite opponents both physically and mentally, maintaining his undefeated record and undisputed lightweight title.
Justin Gaethje, UFC 254, October 24, 2020. Khabib Nurmagomedov's final UFC fight against Justin Gaethje at UFC 254 stands as a testament to his dominance and legacy. Gaethje, known for his knockout power and relentless pace, was widely considered Khabib's toughest test. However, Khabib showcased not only his grappling superiority, but also his striking improvements and fight IQ. In the first round, Khabib pressured Gaethje, absorbing some low kicks, but consistently moving forward and landing clean punches. His relentless pace forced Gaethje onto the back foot, and the threat of the takedown loomed large. Late in the first round, Khabib secured a takedown and quickly transitioned to mount, threatening with an armbar as the round ended. The second round saw Khabib ramp up the intensity. He pressured Gaethje with strikes, then executed a flawless takedown. Instantly, Khabib moved to mount, and then to a triangle choke from the top. Gaethje tried to resist, but was quickly rendered unconscious, with the referee stepping in at 1 minute 34 seconds of round 2. This technical submission was both clinical and brutal, as Gaethje was put to sleep rather than tapping out. Immediately after the fight, Khabib broke down in tears, overcome by emotion after competing for the first time since his father's passing. He then announced his retirement, leaving his gloves in the octagon and walking away undefeated at 29-0, cementing his place among the sport's greatest.
Brutal domination without a finish. Abel Trujillo, UFC 160, May 25, 2013. Khabib Nurmagomedov's fight with Abel Trujillo at UFC 160 is often cited as one of the most dominant, albeit not technically finished, performances in UFC history. While the bout went the distance and ended in a unanimous decision, the sheer level of control and physical dominance Khabib displayed was nothing short of brutal. Over the course of 3 rounds, Khabib executed a record-setting 21 takedowns, a UFC single-fight record that still stands. Trujillo, known for his own wrestling background and athleticism, was rendered completely helpless as Khabib repeatedly slammed him to the mat, often with little resistance. Each takedown was delivered with authority, and Khabib's relentless pace left Trujillo exhausted and demoralized. On the ground, Khabib maintained positional control,
landing consistent ground and pound, and never allowing Trujillo a moment to breathe or mount any offense. The crowd and commentators were in awe of the Dagestani's wrestling prowess as he showcased a level of grappling that was, at the time, rarely seen in the lightweight division. Though the fight did not end in a stoppage, the accumulation of takedowns and ground strikes made it a one-sided beatdown that many fans and analysts still recall as a brutal domination, highlighting Khabib's ability to break opponents' spirits even without a finish. When you look at Khabib's UFC run, it's clear why he's a legend. He didn't just beat people, he broke them. Every finish was a masterclass in control, power, and willpower. You could see it in his opponent's eyes. Once Khabib got a hold of them, there was no escape. He retired undefeated, on top, and with every fight he raised the bar for what dominance in MMA really means. The legacy he left? Pure greatness, no question. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's just a tiny click for you, but it makes a massive difference for us. Thanks for supporting the channel.